And we're getting set to go racing again. We're not done yet because the Masters division is coming up. These are the gentlemen in the 40 and over category, and many of these men who probably didn't have the time, the means, or whatever to race when they were, you might say, in their prime, are now getting to go racing with a whole new kind of vigor, like a new lease on life for a lot of these men, getting out there and being like a kid again behind the wheel of your Legends car. Good-looking machine. Take the grid and take the green flag for the start of this one. David Sadowski hustling back to the chair next to me here. Oh, and already just in time for the first spin of our Masters race here as the number 19 car goes around.
Richard Wood, no harm, no foul on this one, though. Nobody made contact. Very alert driving. Matter of fact, there's not even a yellow out on this one, Brian.
Terry Peterson in the red number 7 got a great jump, stays out in front. He's not going to slow down for anything. Certainly not for the competition, and in this case, not for a yellow flag.
Terry Peterson starting on the pole, leads this one.
A little loose there coming out. Jerry Chaston, Bowling Green, Kentucky in the white 44 is behind him right now.
Jerry drifting all 4 tires at his exit.
These fellas have their foot in it early here. Terry Peterson is from nearby Franklin, Tennessee. Blue 86 of Fred Davis out of Norton, Ohio. Sounds like it's a long way away, but it's not. Now we get a caution flag. And it's the blue number 80 that takes it around. Fred Lee from Nashville, Tennessee, hometown driver, is up against the wall. He's waving, though he's all right. Waving out of both sides of that little car. For a yellow flag wave, and they'll certainly have to come with the wrecker and take Fred Lee's car off the racetrack.
Line them up single file in the running order. It makes it real hard for the guy in the back to make up any ground when they do this, especially on such a short track.
Time to restart just perfectly, and you not only have to watch the flag man, you certainly have to watch the leader and try to anticipate when he puts his foot in the gas. Sometimes, of course, the leader, one of the real sophisticated techniques is you'll brake check the guys behind you and then punch it. Try to open an extra car length or two.
That's a good point, Brian. That would really hand an advantage to Fred Davis. If he was to hang back there at third, the number 86 car, he can let the front two cars play their antics against each other, get a run on them. There is enough racetrack to overtake on the outside going in.
This is a good long look down the backstretch as the field kind of putt-putts their way along. A few of the guys back there trying to keep the tires warmed up. A little weaving and wiggling. Keep a little temperature in the tires as it cools down here at Nashville Speedway, the Masters Division race, the final event of the evening. And for many, as I said before, the feature event. Certainly for the guys behind the wheel.
Say these caution periods don't help these Legends cars too much. They're not liquid cooled, they're air cooled engines. A lot of the guys have fancy
wampus. Now that's in the dictionary here in Nashville. You can believe it. Here comes the green flag out again. Terry Peterson has led pretty much from the get-go and from the pole position. He's back out in front again on the start here as the cars still lined up single file. Having a look inside, the blue 86 of Fred Davis. Can't get it done on this lap. And the 324 Ron Allison in the yellow cab there behind him.
44, Jerry Chapman putting the pressure on Terry Peterson. Fred Davis waiting for a bobble there to make a move. These cars are averaging about 55 miles an hour around this circuit.
You know the red fenders on Chapman's car are not from rubbing on the 7 of Peterson. He painted them that color.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet, that's right. It's 2 different colors of red. Davis, though, he certainly is stalking the 2 leaders. Chapman looks outside.
Almost nicked the wall, Brian.
Tries to duck back inside. He did get awful close to the outside wall there, didn't he?
That's using all the racetracks. You do want to try to get the car steered into the corner, straightened out as best you can, carry as much momentum. Right now, Terry Peterson showing everybody else the best way to do that.
Chapman looked like he might have been trying to fake Peterson outside to block it and then duck inside. Peterson having none of it. Oh, Chapman a little sideways there, trying to cut it close.
There's really only a split-second opportunity to make a pass on such a short racetrack here, and you almost have to force the issue because a lot of these drivers are they're not making many mistakes here tonight, Brian.
Of course, the issue usually means tap the guy in front of you just enough to upset him a little bit and see if you can duck inside. These cars are stuck pretty good to the racetrack. It's hard to get them upset unless you give them some help.
Fred Davis back in the blue car, third place, trying to use the shortest way around the racetrack. Fred seems to be a little bit down on steam on the straight up against Peterson and Chapman.
Peterson leads Chapman right now. Davis drawing close on occasion. But I'd have to agree, David, it does seem like the two leaders get a little bit better jumps out of the corners, and maybe that just is horsepower. Traffic coming into play now, and a lot of it. Ski, you said something about horsepower advantage, but I thought these engines were virtually the same.
Well, the chassis and everything are all the same, but there is enough room in the rule book for tuners to tune the carburetors different, perhaps. In motorcycle racing, you could be off a couple jet sizes in the carburetor, and it could be the difference of 5 or 6 horsepower, and that certainly applies to these cars.
Very evenly matched. Both chassis and engine seem to be the number 7 car of Terry Peterson and the 44 of Jerry Chapton. They have ridden point here for virtually the entire race, and they're dealing with traffic quite well, too.
15 of 30 laps complete. This stage of the race could play into another tuning tactic that different guys are using different means of flowing air into the engine, trying to keep the heat out, because everybody knows that the heat robs horsepower. A lot of different variables you can use to your advantage here if you do your homework.
They've had to do their homework on the FJ 1200 Yamaha motorcycle engine. That's the power plant. And the chassis tuners don't have a lot to work with. They can change spring rates, but they're all using the same tires. The cars are identical wheelbase and width. So it really is very much a driver's series. As we said at the top of this, the driver getting the job done right now is Terry Peterson.
Got to break through traffic.
Oh, Fred Davis getting a little bit of an opportunity and makes the best of it on the exit.
He does. Davis goes into second.
Now
big spin.
Oh, the number 35 backs it in there.
That's Clifford Pugh.
Clifford Pugh.
He's got a fire on board there. That looked like possibly a motor grenading there. Saw some fragments of parts going down the track. John Hyatt.
Also involved, the 61 of John Hyatt. And yes, ladies and gentlemen and music fans everywhere, that is songwriter John Hyatt. And there are people in this town that'll do just about anything to record one of his songs. The list of people that have already done so is like a who's who in the music business. People like Bonnie Raitt. It goes on. John Hyatt, the man who penned all those songs, now doing a little bit of hot-footing around a burning race car. With oil on the racetrack, David Sadowski's hot-footing it down to the infield. John Hyatt out of action. But those who are left are going to get a green flag here momentarily, and this one is far from over. It looks like it's going to be a very, very exciting race here. Front runner Terry Peterson, Fred Davis recently moved into second place, moving Jerry Chapton back to third. And you know that those three haven't had all they're going to say yet. Welcome back, Ski.
Hey, back with you, Brian.
Around.
It was a rod that went through the bottom of John Hyatt's motor.
Ski, not quite as scary to throw a rod in a four-wheel vehicle as it is on one with only two.
No, I'm going to tell you what, that's the last thing you want to see happen on two wheels with the oil.
Oh.
So we have another spinner here. Jackie Cox, number 96 there. Yeah, throwing oil on the ground with two wheels. They put you on your head. These guys, they might spin around and bump into a wall inside of a fully protected cage. These Legend cars are really built solid.
Jerry Peterson out in front. Fred Davis running second. Jerry Chapton third. Jackie Cox, who spun around, got going again without incident. So no yellow flag. We're still green here at Nashville Speedway. And Terry Peterson doing a very masterful job of riding the front there and protecting the line. He's really not getting challenged too much. Going to have a little bit of a challenge now with lap traffic.
Coming up on Jackie Cox after the spin. With clearing out of the way. Very sportsmanlike.
Three leaders have definitely run off and hid from everybody else. Looks like our podium is going to get filled up with these three cars, barring any unforeseen circumstances anyway. They can just settle down and race among themselves.
Fred Fred Davis can't afford to settle down. He's got to pick up the pace there. He's within striking distance. Surprised there's not enough banging here right now for a Legends race.
They're too far apart.
Terry Peterson's got some solid room here to work with. He can afford to experiment with different lines and try to let the car open up. Anytime the car is sliding sideways or there's a steering input, it's scrubbing momentum off.
Likewise, Fred Davis with a little bit of breathing room behind him to Jerry Chafton. So they're just kind of lined up here, 1, 2, 3, and 2 or 3 car lengths in between each one.
All the cars running on BF Goodrich tires with a specific set of rules that everybody has to abide by.
They even have a rule about how worn out the tires can be because, of course, the more worn out they are, the more like slicks they become. Put more tire on the street.
Yes, less rolling mass, less weight on the hub. And if they do find an illegal tire, James Copeland, the tech inspector, will drill a hole in it and hand it back to you as a souvenir.
That's one way to deal with it. Render the offending tire useless.
Really getting back to the mission statement of Legends Racing, trying to keep the high cost out of racing, which we all know the NASCAR teams, they'll run 2 or 3 different cars on the race track at a time to try to gain as much knowledge and technical information as possible. Not so in Legends Racing.
So, a little bit of a outside nudge there. Fred Davis and Jerry Chafton getting run wide by one of the lap cars. And that allowed Terry Peterson to make a little bit of an escape there.
But the traffic is going to play against him right now, kind of like a blackjack game. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But he's picking his way through. Fred Davis with a chance.
Well, let's see. Not much of one unless Peterson really gets held up by this 98 car. He's trying to find a way around. Davis is right on his bumper. Likewise, Chafton. They finished nose to tail, but in the same order. Terry Peterson, Fred Davis, Jerry Chafton lined up that way across the line. Masters Division winner Terry Peterson wins from the pole. Nice job.
Ronnie Allison bringing his Legends car home in 4th place. Nice tight race at the end there. The traffic really played a toll on Terry Peterson's mind there for a minute, but very wise driving. I think Fred Davis, if he had it back, he would have gone around the inside of that lapper in the last corner.
Terry Peterson parks it on the start-finish line, and he will take the checkered flag for a victory lap. Fred Davis, Jerry Chafton, as you mentioned, Ron Allison 4th, and Robert Houston rounding out the top 5 in our Masters Division race, the final event of the evening and one of the best races of the day. Terry Peterson atop the point standings as he has been, followed by Chafton, who switches places with Davis based on the finish here today. Davis moving up in the points, but not quite enough to overtake Chafton for second. Terry Peterson only has one more man to contend with now. David Sadowski's down there on the track. Don't be scared, Terry. Come on out.
Great run.
Appreciate it. Is the pole sitter, Terry Peterson, in the red number 7. We saw his car at the top of the show. Row number 4 inside. Old Highway 61 and John Hyatt. Of course, he went up in flames last time we saw him out here racing. And the rest of the field in this Masters Division class all the way back. 22 cars will take the field for this one. It's always exciting. It's always fun. They don't give anything away to the Pro Division drivers. In fact, many people think this is the class that Legends car racing is all about. A lot of these fellas, as we said, bit by the racing bug a little bit later on. On board with Jerry Chafton. Once again, 600 Racing putting you in the driver's seat. Jerry giving a little bit of a bump there, right on the green flag. We're racing now. David Sadowski rejoining me in the booth. And already, you're just in time, Ski, for the first spin of the race. Rick Walker going around in his number 7. And going around again, and going around again maybe, and now he's back moving again just ahead of the field, so no caution flies. Terry Peterson still leads the parade ahead of the number 44 of Jerry Chafton, running in second. Chafton way hanging out there in the turn, lost a spot.
Jerry driving real aggressive tonight as they come back around Rick Walker there. He just barely got going on time. He's not up to speed yet. Jerry Chafton with an outside line here, back sideways again. Here we are on board with Jerry.
That setup in that car must not be quite what he had hoped for, because he's really sawing on that steering wheel, looking forward to the Fred Davis car, the 86 blue, in second spot behind points leader Terry Peterson. On and off the gas.
Great shots here of Fred Flintstone on the front of back of Fred Davis's car out of the 600 Racing onboard camera.
Very quick pace here. Jerry Chapton doing his best to hang on to the back of the keep Freddie Flintstone in sight there on the back of Fred Davis's car. And Terry Peterson opening 4 or 5 car length gap. He's running first.
Like we see so many times in racing, when two guys get dicing together and a guy's out front with 25 laps to go, Terry Peterson, I watched this guy all night long, Brian, and he didn't sit still for a second. He'd sit back, look at his car, go to the toolbox, get some wrenches, tweaking and tuning on the thing constantly, and you can see it's paid off for him.
C.D. Chandler, got a glimpse of him there in 4th spot, and that checkerboard number 51. Hoping for a checkered flag finish here tonight. Terry Peterson is very typical of a lot of the drivers in this Masters division. He works on his own car, he fusses over his own car, and he's just like a kid again when he gets out there, gets to work on it, gets behind the wheel, drives it. It's beautifully prepared and beautifully driven at the moment.
Yeah, the beauty of this thing is I looked at his toolbox. It doesn't take a whole lot of tools to tune these things. These very simply constructed vehicles, and like you say, it gives these guys that are hobbyists a chance to work on their own car. And we saw in the Charger division, Ronnie Powers, you know, his crew didn't show up, so he handled the mechanic chores and the driving chores. Just a lot of fun, this Legends Series.
And the jacking up the car chores and the going to get a drink chore and everything else. There are a lot of fellows who are like that. Of course, many of them bring friends and family members to assist them in their efforts. Very few of the cars have what you would call a real crew, with the exception perhaps of Kix Brooks and Ronnie Dunn. They seem to have plenty of people willing to work on their cars for them just to get a chance to hang around.
Yeah, you bet. Looking at the 86 of Fred Davis here, real steady drive so far. Jerry Chapton in the 44 giving him tons of pressure. A little bit of contact now and again in the corners. These guys are real good sportsmanship with each other as they get into lap traffic.
Chapton, another good look at Freddie Flintstone, but I think a lot of Jerry's concern here is that Terry Peterson he wants to try to keep Peterson in sight, but that's Terry Peterson disappearing in the distance up there, and Chapton having problems with a lapper that Fred Davis got around pretty easily.
Tell you what, though, he just made up a lot of ground into that corner on his entrance speed into 3.
There's a look at the battle. Chapton in the 44, Fred Davis in the 86, Terry Peterson half a dozen car lengths out in front. Coming up on another lapper there.
Think about the Masters division, the guys that are in the tail end of the field, they're sometimes over a second slower than the front runners. And that's about the only contrast between the Masters and the Pro division. The depth of the field is spread out by over a second here in the Masters.
Jerry Chapton, Fred Davis, good race on the racetrack, and pretty good choice of which car to put that 600 Racing onboard camera in, too, I would have to say. We're getting plenty of looks out through the windshield here.
See Jerry sawing that steering wheel.
Really having to work on it. Oh, all kinds of traffic in the middle of turn 2 there.
I'll tell you what, this is
Whoa!
Really, Chapton gets hit from the rear. Drop it back down into first gear and take off. These things accelerate so hard. The motorcycle transmission, the gears are real tight together.
Jerry Chapton goes around, gets back in the race. He's lost half a dozen positions or so. And dead ahead of him, that looks like the old Highway 61 of John Hyatt. You can tell it's got that road, that highway center line right down the middle of the race car. Yellow car with a black center line, kind of opposite of what pavement would be.
Well, you want to get into the story of how he got that on his car?
Great, enjoyable visit with John Hyatt, the famous songwriter, of course. And Old Highway 61 refers to the road out of Memphis that crosses Highway 49, the legendary crossroads where supposedly blues singer Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil for the right to play the blues.
Well, here's a guy that hasn't sold his soul to anything but driving masterfully. Terry Peterson with comfortable lead right now with Fred Davis and Jerry Chapman getting a little mix-up back there. I'll tell you what, Chapman did a good job to get that car back going again. A lot of guys will sit in the middle of the track and kind of get the yellow flag, but he has enough confidence in his driving that he can make up that time.
Terry Peterson looking almost like the drive of Casey Atwood a while ago, which almost looked like a qualifying lap there for most of it here, but Terry Peterson has simply driven away from everybody and benefited from a little bit of bad luck to a couple of the other drivers.
Terry doesn't really get into the corner, and once he knows he has the corner made, stomp on the throttle, and that's his key. He's so smooth. He gets in on the entry and starts dialing in the throttle early. The tires don't break adhesion, and he's able to just gradually apply the throttle and accelerate out of the corner with no mishaps. That keeps the tires manageable and also keeps him right on line to where he can cut consistent lap time.
Terry Peterson at the Backyard Burgers #7. Coming up on the back end there of Fred Live. Fred involved in an incident last time out, had an accident there, but he's gotten his car back together and out on the racetrack. Apparently still suffering just a little bit from the aftermath of that crash last time we saw you here on the Summer Shootout Series. Fred Davis running in second spot. Just doesn't seem to have anything for Terry Peterson tonight.
No, he doesn't, Brian. I tell you, I'm getting to really enjoy this, getting to meet these fellas. They're really great sportsmen, and they're very interested in getting the information out to me and filling me in. About the only thing I'm completely familiar with in these cars is the Yamaha motorcycle engine. But I tell you what, before this year's out, I think I'm going to be an expert in this series.
Terry Peterson working his way through the traffic there. The yellow cab of Ron Allison just became a victim.
Another spinner there, and we're going to have a yellow. Caution on the front straightaway there. Jerry Chapman again, trying to make up for that lost time. He's a little too aggressive on the throttle as he heads out on the front straightaway.
No, he's pedaling as hard as he can after getting bumped from the back. So that first incident was not his problem, or his fault, we should say. In the first place car, Fred Davis in the second place car, C.D. Chandler third on the racetrack right now. They're slowly circulating here because our onboard cameraman driver, Jerry Chapman, went around as he was pedaling back towards the front following a first incident on the racetrack, which was none of his doing whatsoever. First time he went around. Second time it certainly was. Looking back through the field, Rick Hall in the number 11 is in fourth spot, and John Hyatt, an old Highway 61. There he is, right down the center. With the 33 car of Robert Houston, then Jerry Chapman. Here's a look. Round he goes. Got tapped that time, too.
Don Arkin there caught a little fender on the way in. Jerry Chapman, that was the first time around. Now we're on board for the second time. You can see how much ground he made up. A little bit too hard on the throttle. He may have had a nudge there, too, as well. But as he comes out to the wall, look how close these guys are coming to him.
Hold your breath, Jerry. Now, these are pretty simple race cars, but there is an element of high tech. Earlier, Ski visited with Jerry Chapman and talked about just that.
One lap around this Nashville Speedway is in the 16-second bracket, but tenths of a second can make the difference between winning and finishing out of victory circle. Jerry Chapman, explain to me how you keep track of your lap time.
When we come down to practice, we set the receiver, the transmitter out on the track, and the receiver, every time it comes around, it picks up a lap time. So when we get back in the pits after practicing, we go back through and we check every lap that we went. So then we take tire temperatures and things like that, and then we set the car for the maximum, the fastest lap we can get. Without that, like you said, we're talking tenths of a second, hundredths of a second, and it's impossible to know how fast you're going without some kind of electronic timer. So this way we can dial the car in and get it up front.
You really rely on your lap times in signifying what changes made benefit in your car?
Right, because you wouldn't know if you made a tire change, you wouldn't know if it slows you down a tenth of a second. You'd never feel that. But if it does, you got to take that away and go do something else. So every time we do something, we try to record it and get that time. And we record every race we come to, because if the weather changes, the track changes, we go back a few pages, a few races, look up how the setup was at that racetrack or that day, and we dial it in and go out and see how fast it is, and we're always trying to beat that last time we was here.
Just like in all other forms of motorsports, time is money. No different in legends.
That is certainly the case. And because the setup is so fussy, I guess you'd have to say, man, I mean, those tenths and hundredths of a second are so important. It's going to be tenths and hundredths of a second on the restart here, and all the almost whole seconds that Terry Peterson managed to work on are for nothing here. Fred Davis is right on his back bumper at the restart, but Terry got a great jump.
He sure did. When I was talking earlier about Terry Peterson fiddling around with his car, we're on the white flag here. It's a sprint to the finish. He's got a serious logbook on that car, and he knows if the temperature changes 10 degrees, he knows what to do for setup.
He must have had a serious logbook on that flagman, too, because with only a 2-lap shootout here, Terry Peterson made it look like a long race there. Fred Davis didn't even have a chance the way Terry Peterson got away on the restart in the Masters division. He earned another victory, and certainly that will keep him atop the point standings as well. That's 3 wins for Terry Peterson. Beautiful job, beautiful race car, terrific night of competition here. The fans have definitely gotten their money's worth. Terry Peterson in the money the 3rd time in the Summer Shootout Series. He'll pick up the checkered flag and wave it at the crowd on his victory lap of honor. Backyard Burgers number 7 driver Terry Peterson. Fine job here.
Second place in the Masters division. These guys are going to make you work for that victory.
They sure are. We come down here the last 4 times. We qualified second. We got a 5th, a 3rd, a 2nd, another 2nd. I wonder when Terry's going to let me win this thing.
Yeah. What'd that look like, Jerry Chapin spinning it out there? Were you right on him?
Well, no, actually, he was in balcony there when he spun, but Jerry's a good, solid driver. Must have had something break or something go wrong. He's a real solid driver. It really surprised me to see him go around like that.
Yeah, good show tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Thanks, Brooks and Dunn, Food Line, and all the other folks involved, all the helpers. You too.
Here's the way the points stack up. After 4 races in the Summer Legends Shootout Series, Terry Peterson with a stranglehold on the number 1 spot. Fred Davis, a bridesmaid again. He's a bridesmaid on the points total, too. Jerry Chapton, tough night for him. He's still 3rd in points ahead of C.D. Chandler and Clifford Pugh. You see the prize money there. Most of these drivers donate their prize money to various charities. That is a spirit that pervades this entire series. One of the highlights, maybe a low light if you're sitting in Jerry Chapton's seat. To his credit, though, he got some help going around this time. A scenic tour of Nashville Speedway that winds up in the middle of turn number 4. He's down trackside now with David Sadowski.
Jerry Chapton, Masters Division, you're running hard there in 3rd place, but what happened to you?
Well, we was passing lap traffic there on, I guess, about lap 15, and I was taking them on the outside, and I thought they'd stay out of the way, but one of them got tagged or something, drifted up into me, and I did a 360 right over there in turn 3, and then the traffic was coming at me, so I just sat there for a second, let most of them get by so I wouldn't cause another crash. It took off and chased them down again, and about 10 laps later, another one hit me. I was back up to 3rd, I think, and another lap car hit me in the back end, spun me around, and that put me over there on the straightaway, pointing in the wrong direction. And I said, oh no, here comes all the cars, every one of them right at me. And I got hit again, sitting still, but he just barely bumped the right side of the car. So after all that traffic got by, I did another 360 and took off.
That's enough spins to make you dizzy, isn't it?
That's the worst run I've had here. I mean, that was wild and crazy. There should be some real good footage on that tape. It was really wild. But I want to thank my crew chief, Chuck Slocum, over there for doing a fine job for helping with the car. Tech Tune Motorsports, we got an awesome car. If we ever get a break down here, we're gonna give them a hard time, no doubt about it.
Better luck next time.
We do 2nd and 3rd usually, but 1st is really tough down here. But tonight was a different animal.